Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Enough shenanigans. As you can see, I've got STHD14 hold downs at either side of the garage. I decided to hand nail this one for one reason: to show off that sweet new Martinez that I treated myself to. It's polished titanium. All right, everybody, let's go through some basic hand nailing. I'm going to show you the way I was taught. This is not the right way. It's not the wrong way. It's just one of the right and wrong ways. First of all, I was taught never to align the nails in my hand. You can stop and take the time, but I was taught to just flip them with my left hand. Now, I am very much out of practice. I don't hand nail that much anymore, which begs the question, why do I have such an expensive hammer? I'll come back to that at the end. So, a couple things. Keep your grip fairly loose. You don't need to just give it the death grip. Mostly what we're going to do is we're going to avoid using our shoulder, and we're going to avoid big swings. It's a little bit of shoulder, it's a little bit of elbow, and it's the wrist action. These light hammers are basically, they just don't have the mass that we need. Like the old hammers, you see old Larry Hahn, sink one. Well, that is generally a bigger motion on the arm. What I was taught is that it's all about rhythm, and the rhythm is going to get you tonight. So anyway, it's going to be mostly this action, and you'll see it in slow motion. That is, I kind of think of like Indiana Jones with the whip, right? I don't even know if that's how a whip works. But anyway, here we go. Oh, that's backwards. I gotta warm up, get my rhythm. Now, I'm not trying to go fast, as you can tell. Whoa! And I'm leaving all this in because I ain't perfect, and I don't care to be perfect. I mean, that's pretty good. Quick, beer me some ibuprofen. Just kidding. Okay, so let's just try that again, because we can. I don't even know how many that was. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, or 22. I didn't even count. I'm not going to try to go fast because this is about the technique. But maybe I'll try to turn it up. So let's just go through the technique. With this, you can see some of the heads are that way, some are that way. So this is Doug fir, by the way. This is a big chunk of glue that was left over from our last, actually from that beam. Hey, good morning, everybody. This video is sponsored by AG1. I am 46 years old and have spent about the last 30 years working in the trades, physically demanding. On top of that, there's things I like to do after work. My wife and I love to go hiking. We live in the Pacific Northwest, and we have access to some of the most beautiful spots to go hiking. All of that means that I need to cover my bases nutritionally. I've been listening to the Huberman Labs podcast. He is a neuroscientist and tenured professor at Stanford. He's also sponsored by AG1. So I've been using AG1 because it covers my bases nutritionally. Now, one thing that Huberman talks a lot about is making sure that we're getting the big things covered. For example, making sure that we get outside enough and get enough sunlight, making sure that we get good quality sleep, making sure that we get enough exercise, and of course, making sure that nutritionally our bases are covered. If we take care of those things, we're going to be healthy. That's what I like about using AG1. It's easy to use, it tastes good, it covers my bases as far as vitamins and nutrients, supports my immune system. One thing Huberman talks quite a bit about is the link between mental health and your gut health. So the prebiotics, probiotics in AG1 helps to support that. Besides physical health, we need to take care of our emotional health. That's where things like exercise and sleep come in, but also making sure that we don't have nutritional deficiencies. If we're mentally strong, if our gut's healthy, guess what? We enjoy life and we're able to deal with stress better. I'm going to link to an offer from AG1 if you want to try it out. I highly recommend it. Some of my favorite YouTube influencers also highly recommend it. And of course, I definitely recommend the Huberman Labs podcast. Don't take my word for it. Take a neuroscientist's word for it. Go to drinkag1.com/awesomeframers to get started on your first purchase and receive 1 year's supply of vitamin D3 plus K2 and 5 free travel packets. All right, so this is the Pocket Osmo 3 from DJI. It's brand new. This is at 240 frames per second. So I think I'm at 1/8 speed. Anyway, it doesn't matter. None of that matters. The point of this was just in slow motion, you can see my left hand is flipping the nails while the right hand stays in rhythm. Not perfectly. I'm not even going to try to pretend it's perfect. I will play this clip, though, at full speed. So notice that my shoulder isn't doing a lot of the work. It starts in the shoulder, then elbow, then wrist. You can kind of see how the shot goes up my arm, too. So this is also why I'm using a Martinez hammer. Now, that is a special treat I bought myself. The first 100 he signed and numbered, so I went ahead and bought myself one, and I will never use it on the job site. That is like a family heirloom at this point. The real hammer is over on the right in green. That's my everyday driver, as they say. Anyway, notice the arm motion. You're not cool for syncing them in one. I say that because I'm not somebody that syncs them and probably can't even sync them in one. The point is just develop a rhythm and try to get accurate. In slow motion, though, you see how the head wobbles as it strikes the nail? So really the whole point of this video is just to talk about rhythm and accuracy. The accuracy just comes with practice. And honestly, as I'm out of practice, I'm not as accurate anymore because I use a nailer. But again, notice the shoulder to elbow to wrist, and it's the wrist snap. I highly recommend the Martinez M1. This is way better than the Stiletto Tie Bone. I started using that in 2002, switched to the Martinez M1 in 2016. Absolutely recommend the hammer. You do not get the same level of vibration up through your arm that you do with wood-handled hammers. Invest in yourself. Just my opinion. Sure. So you can see that it is more about the speed. And if you do this all the time, you get so fast. The framer that taught me, he learned in the 70s. All they did was hand nail. He was insanely fast. But here, I'll just go through and I won't talk. Then I'm going to show you, by the way, how we can pull some of these nails. Okay, so there's just a few nails. Again, it's haphazard. Okay, so that's all there is. You just notice that mostly I'm not just lifting with my shoulder. If you go for the big swings, frankly it's slower, you're gonna miss. You're gonna have to practice a lot. But if you just get used to the rhythm, it's the rhythm between the two hands. Let me try to show that. I just get a few more nails. I'll have to stop as soon as I run out. Okay, so there's a few more nails. It's going to be rhythm between, so your brain, you're thinking about flipping these and getting them set, right? At the same time, you're pretty mindless with the right hand. See? It doesn't ultimately end up doing any good. I can kind of hear the grain cracking. All right, so let me show you how to pull some of these nails. This is the Delugi nail puller. This is my favorite nail puller. It is, I believe, I can't find them online right now. It's the 12-inch version. I actually recently did find 2 of them, or a few of them. I ordered a bunch of them, and then I got an alert from my credit card saying that my credit card was being used to buy a bunch of stuff at Petco. So I had to cancel that credit card. So anyway, that turned out to be a scam website, so shame on me. Anyway, this is the DeLugy nail puller. This top is pretty similar to all the other nail pullers like the Shark. It's this flat that I like. So a couple ways to pull nails is to get this up underneath. And then I like to do as much work as possible. And then with the side nail puller, I can use leverage. Are you impressed, Kyle?
I was getting home with a nail gun.
Right? Look at how easy that is. Let me show you another one. I can also go here. That's still more ballistic, but you can use leverage. That helps sometimes. If I'm going to use the top, that one's not going to work. If I'm going to use the top, then I tend to use this side. Now, the easiest way is just to, whenever possible, because that's nice and flat, is just get that up underneath there. I mean, I could smile while I'm pulling nails. That's how good I am at pulling nails. Normally when you pull nails, nobody's in a good mood. And I mean nobody. If I had a bunch of nails to pull, oh, that guy's, I don't even know why I'm still recording any of this. Okay, I'm leaving for St. John tonight. So let me just use up the last like five nails in my bags. Come on, Big T. Oh, come on. I don't want that bent nail. All right, and that is how you get the ladies. Am I right? Ladies, I know that there's 5 of you that follow this channel, and one of them is not my wife. Ah. I am hand nailing the ST-HD14 hold down strap with 16 sinkers. Here's what those look like. Just hand drive, you know, pretty much all framers are going to have some of those in their bags. That's what the strap calls for. The reason I am hand nailing is to show how to hand nail. Many of us nowadays, we use these lighter weight hammers. This is the Martinez M1 and it is a 15-ounce head. Notice throughout this video, I'll put some in slow motion, that I'm not moving my shoulder so much, but the force is generated at my elbow, and then it's, I just call it a wrist snap. I kind of think of it a little bit like a forehand in tennis. But it's really snapping your wrist. What we're trying to do with lightweight hammers is make up for the lack of weight with speed. So the acceleration is what will give us the driving force even out of a smaller hammer. So I'll put this in slow motion. By the way, I don't do this very often anymore. I use nail guns for this, like the one on the right. I'll show you that in just a moment. Notice the wrist action. Also, where'd that block come from? Hopefully you can see, I wish I would have had a top-down video, but it's really rotating with your wrist, that hammerhead back toward your forearm quite a bit, and then that snap forward. You don't have to crank with your arm too much. Yeah, you can see it here. I slowed it down 1/4 speed. So notice that the hammerhead is really whipping. It's not my whole arm. Kind of notice how sloppy that swing is getting in my old age too, in slow motion. Here it is in regular motion, where it looks a whole lot better, in my opinion, of which I own. One thing real quick before I move on. The way I was taught, and I was taught by a framer who grew up hand nailing in the 70s, instead of going for big swings, you go for fast swings and just rhythm. Rhythm is more important than big swings. Also, he taught me, don't align all the nail heads, flip them in your hand. Watch that again. This time, notice that in my left hand, I'm flipping the nails so that they're in the correct orientation. This becomes a rhythm between your left hand flipping nails and your right hand stays in a pretty straight rhythm. Obviously, it stops as we're setting nails. Dave was insanely fast and nobody could beat him. Instead of wasting the time aligning nail heads, just learn to flip them in your hand, and then with fast swings and rhythm, you're going to be really good at this. And now that I've completely worn myself out, most likely caused a repetitive stress injury, just kidding, I'm going to show my preferred method of fastening these straps.